Welcome to the Basic Civil Engineering lecture series by Roy and Thomas.
Module 4 Site Planning and Building Rules. The location of the building has utmost importance in bringing a tranquil atmosphere in a dwelling. A properly located site with good foundation soil bring down the cost of construction. Natural ventilation and lighting, vicinity of other utility centers, transportation and communication facilities govern the selection of the site for residence. These factors, which are to be considered for selecting a site for a building, is explained in this presentation. Properly located site with good foundation soil bring down the construction cost. Location of the building has utmost importance in bringing a tranquil atmosphere into a building. Now we'll see the different factors governing selection of site. Site should be fairly level with good quality of soil. Should be well connected by roads and other means of transport. Should have good communication facility, that means telephone facility, net facilities, etc. Electricity, water and sewer lines should be available at the site, and the site should be away from hazardous industries. Location should be calm but reasonably developed, and should have good natural ventilation and lighting. Site should also have good drainage properties, otherwise we may face the situation like which occurred in 2018 in Kerala. So there should be proper drainage facilities. Flood prone areas, waterlogged areas and reclaimed land should be avoided. Places prone to air and water pollution should be avoided. There must be sufficient for present and future developments. Type of land use recommended at the proposed site should be checked with local authorities. This is very important. Sometimes there may be some restrictions in some areas for the construction that has to be checked with the local authorities. And always go for a regular shape rather than going for an irregular shape or something like that. Now we'll see the site plan. What is a site plan? Detailed plan of the plot with the necessary surrounding data is called a site plan. All the details are to be plotted in the site plan to a scale not less than 1:400 in a paper size of 24 cm by 33 cm or A3 size. While preparing the site plan, prevailing building rules and bylaws are to be taken into consideration. In order to obtain sanction for construction, site plan along with key map and service plan to be submitted to the municipal or town planning authorities. Even if site belongs to yourself, you are not supposed to construct as you like. You have to follow the rules prevailing in that area. So this is a typical site plan. So this is the proposed building in a plot. These are the boundaries. And in that plot there is an existing building with the survey number is shown. So it is shown here. Village, taluk, district and scale of the site plan. It is 1:400. Plot area, plinth area, this I will explain later. And the surrounding roads with width as well as name. Then right side top north direction also should be marked. So we'll see one by one. Boundary of the plot with revenue survey particulars, details of street with name and width, all existing structure in the plot, all existing features and footpath within the plot, layout of the street adjoining terminating at the site, existing, proposed to be widened or newly aligned, position of the site in relation to the neighboring street with its main access. Then proposed subdivision if it is there in the plot, access to each plot with the subdivision, details of undeveloped, not proposed to be developed, and to be reclaimed areas within the plot, north direction, layout of the proposed building, topographic contours. All these details should be shown in the site plan. So again, I am showing that same typical site plan with all these details you can see here: building number, survey number, etc. Planning regulations and bylaw. The building construction activities in an area are monitored by municipal or panchayat or corporation authorities. Building rules and bylaws are framed in a scientific and logical manner. These are formed by a committee of experts comprising of civil engineers, lawyers, traffic officials, health officers, and general administrative officers. Kerala Municipality Building Rule. Building rules and bylaws are laid down by municipal town planning authorities. The National Building Code (NBC), published by Government of India, act as a reference for local bodies in framing building bylaws. Now we'll see the important regulations of Kerala Municipality Building Rules 1999 regarding site and building requirements, exterior and interior open air spaces, coverage and floor area ratio, provisions of size, height and ventilation of rooms. A number of amendments and modifications have made on Kerala Municipality Building Rule 1999 within this period. All the amendments up to March 2019 are incorporated in this presentation. Important regulations in Kerala Municipality Building Rules 1999, which includes general requirements regarding plot, exterior interior open space, built-up areas, size, height and ventilation of rooms, water supply and sanitary provisions, specification of parts of the building. Building should not be constructed on the land where refuse, excreta and other offensive matter is deposited. Plot with big pits, quarries, etc. should be avoided. Floodable areas and plot with slope of more than 45 degrees should not be used for building construction. In the area marked as CRZ, that is Coastal Regulation Zone, under Environmental Protection Act, construction activities are restricted there. So this is also a very important requirement. So because of this only, violation of this rule, the MARED recent issue in the MARED, all the flats which were constructed in CRZ zone were demolished as per the Honorable Supreme Court order. So now we'll see the clearance from overhead electric lines. So this is classified based on the type of line. So low and medium voltage, there should be a vertical clearance of 2.4 meter. Vertical clearance means from the top of the building to the bottom of the electric line, there should be 2.4 meters. Similarly, horizontal clearance to that electric line, there should be 1.2 meter. Then up to 33 kV, vertical clearance 3.7 meter and horizontal clearance 1.8 meter. And for more than 33 kV, for every 33 kV, addition of 0.3 meter for vertical clearance as well as for horizontal clearance. Now exterior and interior open spaces. First we will see the exterior open space. Every building up to 10 meter in height shall have a minimum front yard of 3 meter depth. Depth means that horizontal distance, may be width or length in building rule. Every building up to 10 meter in height shall have a minimum rear yard of 2 meter depth. Then every building up to 10 meter in height shall have an open air space of not less than 1.2 meter width on one side and not less than 1 meter on other side, other than front and rear. That means front there should be 3 meter, back 2 meter, side 1.2 and 1 meter. Now let's see the exterior open space requirement. Building about 10 meter in height, 0.5 meter per increase of every 3 meter height is to be provided apart from minimum front, rear and side open space. And for buildings above 4 stories from ground level, a minimum open space of 5 meter is to be provided on any one side contiguous to front side. The minimum distance from center line of the street to the building should be 4.5 meter. The minimum plot size of a residential building should be 6 meter in width and 12 meter in length. So that means 72 m square, which is approximately equal to 1.7 cents. So to get the approval or the sanction from the authority, there should be at least 1.7 cents of land to construct a residential building. Now we'll come to the interior open space. Any habitable room not abutting on front, rear or side open spaces shall abut an interior open space with a minimum width of 2.4 meter. If the total height of the residential building is less than 7 meter, it can be reduced to 1.5 meters. Now some important definitions. Plot area. Area enclosed between the boundaries of the plot. That means the area inside the compound wall, that is called plot area. Next is plinth area. Area of the building at the plinth level, excluding uncovered staircases, open porch, etc. Which means actually the bottom level of the window, that is the sill level, that is called the plinth level. So if you want to get the plinth area from the room area, when you take the total area, you have to consider the wall thickness also. Floor area ratio. Built up area of the building at any floor level is called floor area. Carpet area. The usable floor area excluding staircases, lift well, decks, toilet, etc. is called carpet area. Which means, suppose assume a room size say 4 by 5 meter. Inside that there is a duct of say 1 by 1 meter. Then the carpet area, that is the usable floor area, is 4 into 5, that is the total area, minus that area, that is 1 into 1 meter, that is the carpet area. Actually it is the usable floor area. The maximum area of any floor of the building excluding cantilevered open balconies, garden, compound wall, gate, uncovered staircases, etc. is called coverage. Which means, suppose there are 2 floors for a building. Ground floor say 100 m square, first floor say 50 m square, and then coverage is 100 m square. That is the maximum area of any floor. Another important term, that is floor area ratio. The ratio of total built up area on all floor to the plot area is called floor area ratio, or FAR. Total floor area on all floor divided by plot area. Suppose there are again 2 floors. Ground floor say 100 m square, first floor say 50 m square. Total floor area is 100 plus 50, that is 150. Assume it is situated in a plot of say 100 by 100 meters. Then 150 divided by 100 by 100 is the FAR. Now we'll see the provisions regarding the size, height and ventilation, etc. Maximum height of a building is limited to a value equal to 2 times the width of the abutting rod plus 2 times the front yard. This may be increased at a rate of 3 meter for every additional 1 meter setback from building line. And minimum headroom in any habitable room shall be 3 meter. That is the minimum height of any room shall be 3 meter. And if there is a provision for air condition, it can be reduced to 2.4 meter. Area of habitable room shall not be less than 9.5 meters square with a minimum width of 2.4 meters. So that means if 9.5 is the total area, the other side can be calculated, 9.5 by 2.4 meters. Every habitable room shall be furnished with a sufficient number of openings to facilitate the direct admission of light and air. No portion of the room shall be assumed to be lighted if it is more than 7.5 meter away from the opening. Every kitchen shall be ventilated according to the standard stipulated for habitable rooms and shall have suitable flue for escape of smoke and heated air. Now come to the bathroom. The area of bathroom shall not be less than 1.5 meter square and one side can be 1 meter. So the other side can be calculated. If it is in the case of latrine, it can be reduced to 1.1 meter square and one side 1 meter. Every bathroom or latrine shall have at least one of its wall abutting on an open air space or open veranda or an air shaft if centrally it is air conditioned. So this is the typical site plan prepared as per the building rule. All dimensions are in centimeters. Living room 400 by 500 centimeters. 400 means this dimension, 500 means this dimension. Bedroom 400 by 300 centimeters, kitchen 260 by 180, and toilet 120 by 180. D1 door, D2 door, W1 window, W2 window, W3 window, and V is ventilator. In the index, the dimensions are given. D1 door 90 cm by 200 cm, D2 80 cm by 200 cm, W1 window 90 by 120 cm, W2 window 135 by 20 cm, then W3 window 180 by 120 centimeters and ventilator 90 by 60 centimeters. So this is the top view, that is the plan, and this is the front view, that is the elevation of the building. So in addition to this plan, we have to submit the site plan which I have shown you earlier to the local authorities to get the permission to build the building. Thank you.